Hello, Solid Source. Happy Agent Appreciation Day. I am with Mitchell Palm, one of your all-time favorites. Welcome, Mitchell.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back.
Y'all, Mitchell has been working the numbers in the Atlanta real estate market for over 25 years. Smart Real Estate Data, he is now co-owner. He is amazing, one of the smartest people that I know.
Thank you.
And I will say, in all this time, Mitchell, I've never seen you make a wrong prediction. I'm not trying to jinx you. I'm not trying to jinx you.
Oh, wow.
But we're excited to bring you the market forecast for 2021.
Yes. And we get a lot of our data from, most agents primarily rely on MLS, FMLS or Georgia MLS in the Atlanta market. We get most of our data actually from warranty deeds, which I think is extremely helpful, especially with new home construction. Not every builder lists all of their listings in MLS, but we combine that with demographic information, government data, permit information, and also surveys that we hear and see. But also we are constantly discussing with clients in the industry, home builders, land developers, land brokerage companies, seeing what their perspective is and what they're seeing out there. And I think it helps to get all this information packed into one. It definitely helps you with getting that accurate prediction.
That's true. Well, as hard as 2020 was in the beginning of the year and everyone having to adjust to the new normal, and thank you, Solid Source agents, because you did a phenomenal job. Boy, are we ending with a bang.
Yes, we are. We actually, before COVID even hit, we were very confident in the market. Fourth quarter of 2019, the first 2 months of this year, everything was very positive. And obviously COVID hit and pretty much everything halted. Nobody knew what was going to happen. And so we saw a pretty flat March for pretty much every industry standard, closing, pricing trends, builder confidence. And then April and May, we kind of got slaughtered. May wasn't the best months we've seen, obviously. But since June, it has been picking up. And we thought, is this going to be a blip? But it seems like it's kind of here to stay. The last 6 months have been 6 of the best months we've seen in a very long time.
It's been amazing. And congratulations to Solid Source agents. Wow, we hit over $1 billion in sales in October. So way to go, you guys. You slayed it. But Mitchell, so what are you seeing in the new home market versus resale in Metro Atlanta and the outlying areas?
Yeah, so a lot of our clientele, they do deal more in the new construction industry, lot development, lending on construction and development loans. But the market is still dominated by the existing home market. About I want to say 78% of all closings, year to date have been an existing home, and 22% have been new construction. But they kind of work hand in hand. A lot of what the resale market does is kind of impacting the new construction. But what we're seeing, like I mentioned earlier, we're up maybe 5-10% for new home closings, resale closings, first 2 months of the year from January, February of last year. Down pretty significantly in the April, May months. But since June, we've seen, 15, 17, 20% price appreciations year over year.
Wow.
So if you're owning a home, that's great for you. It's an extremely big seller's market. This is the most substantial seller's market we have ever seen.
Wow.
The months of supply today has been cut in half from a year ago. The number of listings on the market at the beginning of December was nearly half of the listings from last December.
Wow.
So all this is fueling, that is a big cause for the price increases. And then obviously I'm sure a lot of your agents and their customers are noticing the mortgage rates.
Yes.
That is, you sponsored our last summit actually, and it was, are we a rate dependent market? And a lot of what we see now, that is the case. And
that's true.
The housing recession we really experienced was more the end of 18, first half of 19. If you remember, that's when rates were touching nearly 5%.
That's true.
And it kind of spooked a lot of people from wanting to buy a home. And we're teetering, the month supply started going up. And then after COVID, I think the desire to own a home has just been skyrocketing. And
well, for a home office too.
For a home office, yes. Pajama pants are also at all times.
Yes, they are. And children at home, from school. Yeah, there's definitely a reason to move. But, it's great news thinking about the market value going up so significantly, even from last year. So even clients that purchased something last year may still have enough equity to move.
They could. they also have to buy a home that's been appreciating as well. But
yes.
yes, I mean, the month supply right now is at 1.5 months. You know, a lot of the industry standards kind of, the 6 to 7 months is equilibrium. So, we're nowhere even close to what is considered the norm. And if you were to look at numbers before the Great Recession, they were at about 6.5 months. So we're a quarter of what that was back then.
My stars. So which counties are exploding and which ones are maybe lagging a little behind? That's great news.
I mean, literally every single market, every sub-market we're looking at it's all very positive. Some of the more established markets like a Cobb County and maybe a Gwinnett, the Fulton, they're still doing very well, but they're not skyrocketing quite as much as some of the outer counties that we're seeing. And that's just based off sheer volume. They have so many different, types of real estate, the higher price ranges as well. And so the higher price ranges, they're going to have higher months of supply typically.
That's true.
But I mean, you really can't go wrong right now.
Well, and think about too, all of the migration that Georgia is experiencing based on COVID, and so many folks that are from states that may have a little different legislation than Georgia are living in Georgia right now. And so we've seen so many out-of-state buyers from California, from New York, coming to Georgia, which has been a great influx. And we know a lot of our agents are working with a lot of out-of-towners, but boy, they just want to move right now.
I'm sure they're shocked when they see the average price is the low
and
30s.
Property taxes.
Yeah, and property taxes. That's for
I know. Georgia rocks.
To give you perspective, we talked about price appreciation just in the last year. If you were rewound 10 years ago, 2011, those are dark times, obviously. The end of 2011, beginning of 2012, best time ever to buy a home, best time ever to buy really anything in the real estate market. And the average price back then was about $150,000, $160,000. We have doubled that in 10 years.
Wow. So do you think that the investor market will change at all? Just based on the moratorium on rents and how that may have affected the psyche a little for potential landlords or present landlords?
We'll see. I mean, you mentioned forbearance before as well. The investor market is still alive. We always had a concern with the market being, when are they going to unload all these properties to flood the market?
Right. And some of the large corporate investors.
Yeah. And if they do so, the market is still just extremely undersupplied. When we're at, on FMLS, for example, 12,000 listings, and we had 24,000 a year ago. You could really afford to flood the market with 5,000 more homes. That's not a big deal. And a lot of times they are the lower priced homes that we've seen, and those months of supplies are typically under 1 month.
Wow.
So I don't think it would have that extreme of an impact.
Maybe not. Well, speaking of that, how's that affected the iBuyers?
It's a good question. So the iBuyer market, they really started picking up about 2 years ago. They entered the market. I think .coms was the first to enter Atlanta. Open Door and OfferPad shortly thereafter, and Zillow about 2 years ago. Right,
and now Knock, as you know, is just a mortgage company. So they are completely out of iBuyer business. However, they've just partnered with Solid Source, because you're a Solid Source agent. But y'all, Knock is still a great opportunity. It only takes 1 hour to get certified. And what happens is if a person, you're saying even last year, could have 17%, if they purchased a home last year and they have 17% equity, but they'll loan up to, advance up to $200,000 for you to put down on your new home before you even list this home. And then they'll pay up to 6 months of your mortgage while you list this home. And you've already moved, so you don't have to go through all the listing traffic. They'll give you up to $25,000 to renovate your house to get top market dollar. So we're big fans of Knock. And here's the big thing. We thought the reason we were so excited about introducing it is we think that could really impact iBuyers, because instead of just taking that somewhat low ball price from an iBuyer, you could literally still get the same benefit and take something immediately, but just get top dollar for your home because they'll fix it up, just advancing you your own equity.
That sounds like a much better deal than what the other iBuyers are doing. We were seeing some just absolutely astounding numbers where, people are they're selling their home and they think it's a good deal. But in reality, they don't understand the market because they don't have an agent with them.
They don't understand it. And then after the appraisal and the inspection and this huge long list, sometimes that would be $10,000 to $20,000 less than the original offer, which was already being impacted by that service fee of 8 to 12%.
And as you know, we've been tracking the iBuyers for probably the past 2 years. You were one of the inspirations for us to start tracking that. And we did see a lot of pullback in the second quarter, mostly COVID related. And even third quarter, second quarter, they were down 90% in purchasing volume, 80% last quarter. So possibly the reports are working. Maybe consumers are catching on. Agents are spreading the word out that, you need to use an agent. Over half the time, you actually save $10,000 by using an agent as compared to an iBuyer.
I believe that. Well, knock is a great alternative, and you never know. Even not being out of the iBuyer business and into the mortgage business with this awesome program for solid source agents to use, that could be impacting at least at the Atlanta area, with the numbers going down so significantly. So now it's time for the big question for Mitchell Palm. What's up for 2021? What do you see?
Yes. Luckily, it's only 3 weeks away.
I know, it's not very far. But, just like, what do you see as far as even the economic data? So much change. My stars, look at the stock market, hitting 30,000. It's unbelievable, everything that's happened over the last few months.
Yeah, so, we went over a few numbers, and, we had huge confidence before COVID happened. We have even more confidence in the market right now. One of the best surveys we actually look at is the NAHB, which is a National Association of Home Builders. They survey builders across the nation. What is your confidence in the market moving forward? And last month it was a 90.
Wow.
And that's the third month in a row setting a new all-time high.
Goodness.
The previous record was 78 in December of 1998. And if you remember back to 99 through 05, those were probably the most booming real estate years of all time, residential real estate. So, builder confidence all-time high. Prices are going up. And we mentioned prices being up 15-20%. Closings are also up 15-20%.
Wow.
So it's not like, prices are up, but the closings are flat. It's the exact opposite. So closings are up, pricing's up, month supply all-time lows. They've already said the rates are going to stay low. They're at 2.8 right now.
Is that crazy?
So with all that said, I think we will have another just absolutely booming market next year. I think for new construction, we're going to set the highest number we've seen since 2007.
Wow.
We're still a long ways to go for Atlanta new construction. The resale market, easily another record for closings and pricing. It won't be close, which is great. We've set records every year, except for last year was a little bit down year. But we're positive, and we're excited. I'm sure everybody I've talked to who's in this industry has a positive outlook as well.
Well, I will say that Solid Source Agents, you guys have been killing it. Mitchell, is great news are you saying that for the whole year next year? You don't see anything even in third or fourth quarter? Or we need to get back together?
Probably get back together. Well, you never know. Predicting something that far out, the next 6 months, I would confidently say we're doing very well.
That's fantastic.
You could potentially have a little bit of slowdown in pricing. You can't always see a 15 to 20% appreciation. That's unrealistic. Typically you want to see 3 to 5. And
even with appraisals, I know a lot of folks are struggling with appraisals because, a buyer is willing to purchase and the seller is willing to sell, but then the appraisal comes in short. Yeah.
I had that actually happen with one of my clients.
Did you really?
Last year.
Wow.
Yep. Appraisal came in, I think, 20% lower than what the offer was.
So really maybe a slowdown as far as appreciation may be positive, just so at least the appraisal amounts can catch up with it.
You don't want to price everybody out of the market either.
Exactly.
You want to make it the American dream of owning a home.
Absolutely.
Still attainable.
I couldn't agree with you more. All right, Mitchell Palm, I can't thank you enough for being here on Agent Appreciation Day 2020 style.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope we're back on stage with you next year.
I will be there.
I know. Bye, you guys.